Ralph Breaks the Internet is the 2018 sequel to the 2012 film Wreck-It Ralph, which I really love that film. I thought it was so inventive and so new and really funny, so I was excited to see the sequel. So this sequel takes the original story and it adds in the internet. So there is a new Wi-Fi router in the arcade where all of these characters live, and the Sugar Rush game where Vanellope lives in, basically somebody accidentally breaks the steering wheel off that game, and the guy that runs the arcade says that he has to throw that game out because it's too expensive to replace. A replacement steering wheel on eBay costs $200, which is just not worth it for him. So he's going to have to throw that game out, and Vanellope from Sugar Rush is going to be out of a home. So all of a sudden, Ralph and her go on this adventure on the internet to try and get the money to buy this steering wheel back and get it in the arcade so the Sugar Rush game continues to be there. So there are two directors on this film. One of them is Phil Johnston, and this is actually his directorial debut, but he also wrote this film, and he has wrote a lot of films. So he wrote the original Wreck-It Ralph. He also wrote The Brothers Grimsby, which was pretty funny. He wrote Zootopia, which is another kids movie that wasn't too bad. He also wrote this movie called Cedar Rapids with Ed Helms in 2011, which was a very indie kind of movie. Wasn't very popular, but I really liked that film. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to see him on this. This movie was also directed by this guy, Rich Moore, who directed the original Wreck-It Ralph as well as Zootopia. This movie is also written by this girl, Pamela Ribon. She wrote Mona and Smurfs, The Lost Village. So, yeah. Now, let's talk about the cast in this. John C. Reilly is back as Ralph, and I love him in the role. He is great at it. Sarah Silverman is back as this Vanellope, and I thought Sarah was okay. Sarah Silverman's voice kind of annoys me after a while, but she was fine in the role, I guess. Gal Gadot is now added to this film. She plays this streetcar racer on the internet named Shank, and she is just so cool in the movie. And I thought she was a fun addition to the cast. We also have Taraji P. Henson as this girl, Yes, who's kind of like this algorithm that's driving this YouTube-like ripoff site, BuzzTube, in the movie. And I thought she was okay in her role. We also have a whole bunch of the other cast members coming back that were in the original film in these supporting character roles, and they were fun as well. Let's talk about the positives first. So the first half of this movie is very good. I like the plot setup for why they have to go explore the internet, and the world of the internet is very fun, very inventive. They're good at pointing a lot of humor about things on the internet and bringing it into this crazy world of the Ralph universe. I love their how they show what eBay is and how it's like this auction site where all these avatars are there bidding on useless items. That was fun. I like seeing the search bar, and it's this weird little character, and he keeps trying to guess what you're going to say, which is like the autofill on Google. So they'll be asking him a question, and he'll just jump in with various responses. That was funny. I like seeing the pop-up ads. So it's these people walking around with these little signs, and they're like, come on, don't you want to go to this? Don't you want to read about this? Come on, touch it, touch it. That was funny. I like this new spam guy, and he's just this guy that runs these shady websites that say you can make money really quick. And in the movie, Ralph and Vanellope get involved with him, and he takes them to his corner of the website, which is this very sketchy, rundown place, like a very sketchy website you would visit on the internet. So that was pretty fun. At one point, they're buying a virus, so they go to this super sketchy place to buy this virus, this very seedy part of the internet. That was pretty fun. There's this one point where Ralph is reading all these comments about him on the internet, and they're very toxic, and a lot of people saying how much he sucks. So that was pretty fun, seeing that side of the internet. One thing I thought they didn't really get into is they didn't really make fun of all the porn you find on the internet, which is basically a very huge part of the internet, and it's kind of weird that they didn't even mention it at all that much. I realize it's a kids movie, but I mean, come on. Internet and porn go hand in hand. You gotta at least address it. Now, They also mentioned all these stuff with these Disney princesses. At one point, they go to this Disney princess website or something. So they bring in all of these retired Disney characters from backlog of characters and so many Disney princesses. And it was a very funny scene. They're poking fun of themselves as well as all the Disney princess tropes, how they all wear dresses, how they all sing, how they all talk to animals. And they're really good at poking fun of themselves, so I did enjoy that. There was some funny parts there.
What kind of a princess are you?
Do you have magic hair?
No.
Magic hands?
No.
Do animals talk to you?
No.
Were you poisoned?
No.
Cursed?
No.
Kidnapped or enslaved?
No. Are you guys okay? Should I call the police?
Do people assume all your problems got solved because a big, strong man showed up?
Yes. What is up with that?
She is a princess.
However, on to the negatives of this film is the blatant product placement, especially of Disney stuff. So while these Disney princesses were fun, it was kind of like really Disney pushing their brand onto us. Like, we don't really need to see these princesses to be such a big part of the movie, yet they were. And also, a lot of people were really bothered by a lot of the brand placement. So we're seeing some Amazon, some Google, some Pinterest. We're seeing all of these big internet brands. It really bothered some people. They really felt it was too much product placement. Although I feel that if this is a movie about the internet, wouldn't you want to see real-life brands integrated in the movie? Isn't that what makes it more realistic and more fun? So I'm kind of mixed on that. In one sense, I understand why the product placement is too much for some people, but on the other sense, it is more realistic to have those real-life brands integrated in the movie. Finally, the back half of this movie is just not as good as the first half of the movie. In the first half of the movie, when we're exploring this world, it is really, really fun. In the back half of the movie, we start getting into this storyline where Vanellope wants to stay in the internet world. Ralph wants to bring Vanellope back to their arcade world. So he buys this virus and releases it, and then it causes all sorts of problems. And then there's this Wreck-It Ralph virus that spreads across the internet, and there's a big Wreck-It Ralph monster that starts attacking the internet, and it's like this big boss battle it breaks out into, and I wasn't really loving that aspect of it. It got kind of convoluted and ridiculous a bit, and I wasn't digging it. I was getting kind of bored by that back half of the movie, so there are some negatives here. Overall, though, I had a good time with this film. I understand where the people are coming with these negatives, but I think there was more good than bad in this film. I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I do think there are some definitely redeeming qualities in this film. I still think it's a good time, but maybe not as good or unique as the first time around, but still a decent movie.